Good morning, everyone. It's Lindsay Huddleston back in the building with another SPS Monday Motivation. Hope you guys are doing okay on this Monday, a snowy Monday here in East Lansing. Oh, wow, what a weekend it's been. As you all know, my Monday motivations come from where the headlines or from my personal life. And boy, the headlines have been talking about these California wildfires. And as I got more into it, just knowing that, like I said, I was in Santa Monica, just a few months ago. And it's amazing that after all these years, me finally going back out to California, just a short time later, you have such a tragedy, and it's been on my mind a lot. And I've been thinking about, what could the experience be for everything that's happening. Good morning, Michelle. Thank you for always checking in early on the Monday Motivation. I really appreciate that. I just really been thinking about that, and as time has passed since we have become a little bit more acclimated to the storyline of the fires, things started to change, going from just the big hurt and concern that we have for the people who lost their property, and now that I hear there are about 16 people deceased, maybe another 16 missing. So you want to say it's always terrible when there's one loss of life, but hopefully those numbers can remain low and not be exponential. But then we talk about the property damage, we talk about what the cost is going to be, and just the impact and the trauma that it has. So let's talk about fire, the psychology of fire. This is called fire feelings. You can define fire. What is the meaning of fire? The state of combustion in which inflammable materials burn, producing heat, flames, and often smoke. I'll just stay with that for the most part. And I want to be able to touch on that. I got Aaron Mays in the building. Good morning, brother. Good morning. Good to see you today. Thank you for checking in. We're talking about fire feelings. And it's so funny, Aaron, and to Michelle as well. When we say the word feelings in 2025, yes, we are in 2025, it's almost like you have to be careful with that term, because feelings, and maybe because we're more so relied on the digital aspects of the world and whatnot, that feelings are almost not even a word that we can even use without someone raising an eyebrow. We're not talking about our feelings, or potentially talking about feelings may be a negative thing, or maybe a sign of quote unquote weakness because you talk about that. But I'm talking about the feelings that come when it relates to dealing with fire. So what can we say about fire? Let's start with the dangers, and we already see that. I mean, the one description of danger is the physical hazard. Uncontrolled fire pose significant risks, including injury, property loss, and environmental damage. Exposure to such events can lead to psychological trauma. So that's another thing that we have to be on the lookout for, the psychological trauma that's going to impact anyone who was involved with those fires that took place, whether it was the loss of property, where it was the traumatizing reminder of another fire experience. I can even remember back as a child, unfortunately, around the block from us, I lived on Fielding and on Patton. There was a family whose mother, died in the fire and died in the flames, and it was just terrible. So you have to keep in mind that as we interact with people throughout our lives and throughout the world, be mindful of the trauma that's there. And also from a mental health standpoint, the mental health impact of wildfires. I had a picture of a wildfire I thought I had available to show, but it was someone fighting a wildfire from last year. But they were just all consumed in the flames. And one of my favorite movies, Tenet, they talk about, we all said we are running to that burning building until you feel that heat. And I think it's, undeniable what that heat can be like. So also, experiencing wildfires can increase rates of post-traumatic stress disorder, depression, and anxiety. And these effects can persist for years. So whether someone had lost a home or know someone who lost property in California, or they were involved in the wildfires, we got all these individual firefighters, both volunteer and others who are involved. So it's a lot to that. So we know about that, but I dare say, let's talk about the benefits of fire. And I will say as a caveat, this is not to take anything away from one loss of life, or not to take anything away from the mass loss of property that people have experienced and how it will forever change their life. But however, with this SPS Monday Motivation title being Fire Feelings, because it's to talk about the complex relationship we have with fire, the psychology of fire, because then I can talk about the destruction that came from those wildfires, whether people believe that they were set on purpose or not is not the discussion I'm trying to have. But I do want to get to the part about the benefits of fire. Even going back to the definition, I can remember being in the Marines, and even the part about the smoke. Yeah, smoke can be a deadly thing in a fire, because we all hear smoke inhalation, but smoke would save us in training. We would go smoke and we would throw a smoke grenade out, and that smoke would give us cover. You talk about the definition of fire, you're talking about a state of combustion in which inflammable materials burn, producing heat. What about heat? Boy, we got that heat on right now. The conversation, comedian Food is saying, hey, keep it on about 73, 74, but the conversation is about the importance of heat. And heat comes from that because we get that internal combustion. Let's talk about the car that we're all going to drive this morning, whether you turn the key or push start. It's that internal combustion and that fire that's going to ignite your engine to give you that power to go. So we have to keep in mind fire plays a critical role. And then we talked about the mindfulness part, the peacefulness you get from just looking at a fire and a flame, how in the trance it can put us when we look at these things going forward. So I want to be able to talk about that because there is a complex relationship with fire for many of us. Talk about the stress reduction and relaxation, observing the fire flickering flames and listen to its crackling sound can induce relaxation, lower blood pressure, and heart rate. So that's almost saying if you get a chance to look at a controlled fire, whether it's a bonfire or something going on where it's not going to be dangerous, it could be a benefit to that. And then speaking of bonfire, we talk about the social connections. Gathering around the fire fosters social interactions, enhancing feelings and the belonging in the community. I remember years ago, I went up to the RAM facility. Anyone who works with the state of Michigan knows about the RAM facility where you go up there and there was a bonfire I had with the Michigan Political Leadership Program. Shout out to all my MPLP people. And we sat around the bonfire, and I was like, boy, as a city guy, man, that was a big deal sitting around that bonfire. I was able to appreciate that. But for some people, that's part of their everyday lives, whether they have the fire pit. But say, I don't know if you guys had a fire pit on the deck. I can't remember years ago being out there. You guys were barbecuing. I can't remember if I saw a fire pit or whatever it may have been, but I can just, talk about the important part of the social aspect of it. And also, the mesmerizing quality of fire encourages mindfulness, allowing individuals to focus on the present moment. Because like I said, you get in that trance when you're looking at the fire. It can kind of make you put your phone down and just kind of be about that. And you kind of get different thoughts going forward with that. Yep, she said, yes, we have. Well, I remember that. I was like, oh, you got the fire pit. It was summertime. Yep, I appreciate that, Michelle. You're always on it. Thanks so much. But you talk about that, and I would imagine, why do you have a fire pit, Michelle? It's not for you to have to stop everything to answer, but you have it because there's some connection there where you can sit around on that lovely deck and kind of be with people and chill out. You don't have to leave the urban core, but you can walk right out into your backyard and have that experience, whether it's by yourself or with family and friends. And that's whether it's an urban experience, a suburban, or rural, or whatever it may be. Also, just want to talk about cultivating these fire feelings that we have, because the other part of fire is that you want to have a fire inside of you. I just defined what combustion is and how when that fire ignites, it lights your engine. Well, also, you can light the fire inside. You often hear someone say, oh, she got a fire inside of her. He has a fire inside. It's tapping into that fire. So imagine just the powerful thing of such as fire, uncontrolled fire can destroy homes in a tragic way. The same concept, you would want that same fire inside of you. Isn't that amazing? That same fire that can be destructive and change lives forever and even not for centuries is the same fire you want. So we got to cultivate these feelings of fire. Avoid seeing crisis as insurmountable problems. Easy to say to these people who lost their property in California, but if you have a story to tell that you still have your life, there were sad stories about people who died fighting those fires, not firemen, family members trying to save a home of 55 years, and told the story of a man. They found him with the hole still in his hand. And it's tragic that his life is gone, but we have to look at, if we have our life, there's still some opportunity for us to overcome some odds to make things better. We have to keep things in perspective. I tell you what, watching those fires and hearing about that made me just have a better appreciation for my problems. Right? Comedian Mike Epps said a long time ago, hey, if you put all your problems on the table next to the next person, everybody put their problems on the table, and you had to reach for problems, you got somebody else's problems, you probably wouldn't want those. You probably want your problems. So for me, whatever quote unquote problems I've been working through, so to speak, and I'm just blessed to say that my problems ain't problems, they're really puzzles, and I'm navigating, is that when I saw those fires, I'm like, man, I'm glad I'm dealing with what I'm dealing with. As a matter of fact, the things that I think are pressing for me, I'm ready to lean into those even more because I'm grateful for that. So it helps keep us in perspective. Also, got to maintain a hopeful outlook. The power of hope is still amazing. That one scintilla of hope, that one crumb of hope, if you will, can be what's there to keep you, because if not, by human nature, we spiral. And there's so many things that with the algorithms on social media or what you start looking at, it's easy to find the negative route. So we want to be able to maintain a hopeful outlook, and don't worry about somebody saying, oh, you're always trying to be positive. We got to watch out for them because it seems like they're always trying to be negative. So we want to maintain that hopeful outlook. Also, take care of yourself, folks. I can't begin to preach the importance of just staying healthy. healthy. Whether you're running, whether you're walking. Hey, when I get off here, guys, I'm going to jump on the bike for a minute, get 30 minutes in, get a good sweat. Madeline hates when I show the sweat, and I send her a picture of it, and she said, "Oh, Daddy, that's just so nasty," but it's a good thing. Take care of yourself, even if it's just meditating for a moment, some positive thoughts. There's something you can do to be proactive in taking care of yourself going forward. And also be inspired by the fire inside you is what I said. You know, one of my favorite groups of all time is the Roots. When I was on Line Pleasant Alpha back in 1995, or excuse me, joining the organization, boy, we played their first album, man, ad nauseum. But even still with the Roots, they really inspire. We got Chad in the morning. Good morning, SPS family. Good morning, Chad. It's good to see you. I got something just for you, man, as we get ready to close out this Monday motivation. We talk about our fire feelings. But hey, the Roots have a song called The Fire. And I play it periodically every few years. It gets me inspired. And I just want to read the lyrics to you guys to be some inspiration. So just listen to this and take these words in to help inspire you for throughout this day. Got Tamara Hunt Williams this morning. Having a hopeful outlook is so important. Thank you, Tamara. It's so good to hear from you. You're right. And it's important that we keep that. So take these words, whether it's you listen to me in the tone, a cappella, I'm not going to sing, I'm just going to say them, or you go pull it up yourself to talk about the fire. And that's what I'll leave you guys with. So bear with me as I read the lyrics from The Fire. And it starts like this, saying, excuse me, it's something, excuse me, if I'm ever at the crossroads and start feeling mixed signals like Morse code, my soul starts to grow older than the North Pole. It tries to focus on the hole where the torch goes. In the tradition of those legendary sport pros, as far as I can see, I've made it through the threshold. And now, Lord knows I waited for this a lifetime, and I'm an icon when I let my light shine bright as an example of a champion, taking advantage, never copying out or canceling, burn like a chariot, maverick, always burn like a chariot, learn how to carry it, maverick, always above and beyond average, fuel to the flame that I train with and travel with. Something in my eyes says I'm so close to having the prize. Don't worry, I want to keep this going for you guys. I realize I'm supposed to reach for the skies. Never let somebody tell you otherwise. I got one more slide, guys, for you for the fire. One game, one desire, one flame, one bonfire. Let's burn higher. I never show signs of fatigue or turn tired, because I'm the definition of tragedy turned triumph. It's David and Goliath. I made it to the eye of the storm, feeling torn like they fed me to the lions. Before my time starts to wind down like the Mayans, I show them that I got the grind down to a science. It sounds like a ride on Hush. It's so quiet. The only thing I hear is my heart. I'm inspired by the challenge that I find myself standing eye to eye with, to move like a wise warrior and not a coward. You can't escape the history you was meant to make. That's why the highest victory is what I meant to take. You came to celebrate. I came to celebrate. I hate losing. I refuse to make the same mistake. Now, that's The Fire by the Roots. Folks, all I just want to say is that with these fire feelings that we may have, let's continue to be inspired, because as dangerous and destructive as a wildfire may be, as uncontrolled fire may be, that same fire, we want that inside. That same fire, we want to be the motivation to help, as Tamara said, with those crumbs of hope that we want to keep holding on to going forward. So for you, don't let the fires get you down. Know that people are going to need some help. They're going to need some support. And if anything, be grateful that it's not you in that situation. And just be inspired. Let fire be the fire inside. That same fire that's an combustible, that can create an engine's power. It can be the same thing that can get you motivated to get through the day, get through the week, get through the month, get through the year. It's 2025, folks, and there's no reason we can't be closer to the goals we set for ourselves. So if you get some time, maybe you can be in a setting, you can look at some fire, you can be drawn into the majestic nature of it. You can have a healthy respect for the power of it, but also know that same fire that you look that can burn inside of you. That's why I got my brother Kevin Marshall this morning saying good morning, my brother. Good morning to you as well. So I just want to leave you guys with something. We talk about the fire feelings. We got Ezra Bell, Grand Rising, my brother. Good day to you and all your folks over there in Southwest Michigan holding it down, man. Hey, have that fire inside of you guys. be motivated, be inspired. That same fire that keeps you warm inside can be what's going to keep you motivated to go forward. And as we talk about our fire feelings, don't get down, be empowered, and look at how we can be a benefit to someone else going forward. And finally, remember, your problem is probably not as big as a problem you think they are when you compare them to what others are dealing with. So with that being said, guys, thank you. Thank you for giving me support on my platform to be able to share. I want you guys to go and have a great day. Be safe, be inspired, and recognize your fire feelings and let that fire inside of you burn for the benefit of yourself and others. Thank you, guys. See you soon. Take care. Peace out.